Good evening. Man, I am in the presence of greatness here tonight. What great speakers. I finally made it full circle. I've walked these halls along with my comrades here, and I never saw myself standing on the stage every time I walked through this auditorium. I never see myself giving a presentation on defying the odds. So if you find yourself in those shoes today, hopefully I could give you some hope that there is chance in defying those odds. My name is Eric Vargas. I grew up in Aurora. My parents immigrated here from Mexico. We lived in a very small, cramped apartment with my mom, my dad, my little brother, my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin. In this little cramped apartment, the walk-in closet of the master bedroom was my room. So as you can tell, getting dressed in the morning was a jiffy. I could do it easily. Growing up, my role models, maybe like most, were my parents. They weren't superstars, they weren't athletes, they weren't scientists, they weren't presidents or nothing like that. Simply my parents. They didn't tell me many things, but they definitely showed me many things. One of them being to take risks in life. My parents came here from Mexico in 1999 with my whole family in hopes of a better life and better opportunities for their children and themselves. So they moved here to Aurora, and my dad worked construction. My mom worked 2 jobs. She worked at Wendy's, and also she cleaned homes on the side and did some babysitting, and I would tag along every once in a while and really get to be immersed in this other side of the world. Apart from taking risks, one thing that I did see in my parents was the ability to fight. They were very persistent, and they didn't have much help, unfortunately, just because immigrants, unfortunately, in the United States weren't really welcomed at the time, and they had to get in here in means that didn't necessarily align with the structure of the United States. So working for themselves and fighting for themselves was very important. Another thing that I was taught from my parents is work ethic is something that no one can take away from you. Everyone in this room, everyone watching this, has the ability to work hard. So that's something that is strong in you, and please pursue it. As life continued, we started moving up that ladder, the socioeconomic ladder. We moved to a better apartment. It was no longer this cramped space, no longer the closet. I was in a bedroom. I had to share it with my little brother, but I was in a bedroom finally. And around this time, I went to new school. I went to Morocco, as Nate had mentioned. And, middle school is embarrassing as it is, so I don't want to recollect on those years. But 8th grade came around September, right, when everyone's going to school. And one day after school, I came back to my house, and I felt some sort of tension in the air. I couldn't put my finger onto exactly what it was, but there was something definitely off. At that time, my mom mentioned to me that my dad had gotten pulled over and he was in jail. And I was like, okay, everyone gets pulled over. I'm sure this will pass by. And the realization of what was going on didn't hit me until my dad had called me from the detention center. And he was very calm in his voice. I do remember that. As to the words he spoke to me, it is kind of a blur. But what I do remember is that at this time, this was going to be a new chapter in my life. I had to step up to a position that I didn't know I was capable of stepping up to. This leadership position in my family where I'm just going to school. I don't really have much to provide to my family. So it was my brother, my mom, and of course my aunt. But family was very close to me, and I knew that was my driving factor to continue and pursue. And just like many speakers have mentioned, education for me was a way out, and something that my mom would always tell me. Education, education, education. So that's what I did. I stuck to those guns. And another hurdle, so 8th grade came to a final finale, and now came high school, and again another set of hurdles came around. And I wasn't even supposed to come to this school, Rangeview. I was actually supposed to go to Gateway. But my mom thought better opportunities were here in Rangeview. And whether that's true or not, we had to, again, finagle some documents here and there and get myself here to Rangeview. So maybe that resonates with some. And once I started here at Rangeview, I decided to try new things. I decided to try for the football team. I continued working my STEM curriculum here in Rangeview. I knew that I liked mathematics and engineering type of things were my kind of thing, right? So I continued that path. And, high school flies. And throughout that whole period, I worked different jobs. I worked at KFC down the road, used to be down the road. It no longer is. I used to wait tables. I remember waking up super early to catch the RTD bus because the public school bus didn't go to my house. So I had to wake up early, snow, rain, shine, whatever, and then likewise get myself back home. And while this is all going on, everyone's applying for scholarships for colleges and looking on for the future. And I'm kind of just trying to balance my work life and doing studies, right? So it was something that I wish I had made more time to do. But following just my friend group and, just wanting to follow the fun times and let's say go party somewhere, I decided to follow my friends and apply to CSU. So I applied to CSU and I got accepted. And I was like, yes, I'm going with my friends. We're going to have a great time. And then I had to decide, what am I going to study for at CSU? So I went on Google, what is the highest paid engineering job? Bam. Chemical engineer came up. So that's what I did. I signed up for chemical engineering, and as soon as the first day of class came by, I was scared out of my mind. The teacher was super daunting. I went to my advisor right after that class, and I was like, I do not want to do this no more. No more chemical engineering. So I switched over to mechanical engineering the second day of CSU, or my first semester. And you know what? I stuck through that full semester, and I thought my grades were going to be solid at the end of it. And I kid you not, they were probably the worst grades I've had in my whole college indoor school career. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, what's going on? This is something completely different. And on top of that, I also got the bill for the first semester at CSU. And that even more discouraged me of like, should I even continue this path, right? And it was $4,500, right? And I was like, man, should I take the money and run or stick through? And then the whole time came in my head, and I was like, okay, what should I do? What should I do? So as you can tell, I decided to stick through it. I paid the $4,500. What I could have done with that money, who knows? That's a different area in a different universe to find out. But I continued on, and in order for me to fund school at this point, that was a big realization. Okay, I need to figure out how to make money and or how to pay for school, right? And scholarships, unfortunately, once you're in college, like, they're hard to find. I feel like they're more given to you once you are applying for colleges. So I applied to be a resident assistant, which helped with my housing and my meal plan. So I didn't have to pay for these things anymore. So shout out the resident assistant program at CSU. And I also, anytime summers came around and you don't have to go to school and or winter breaks came around, that's when I worked with my stepdad in construction and started waiting tables. So that work ethic I was telling you, just that no one could take that away from me. I was going to work to pay for college. At the end, I forgot to mention, like, I dropped mechanical engineering. I didn't want to do that no more. First semester, I switched to electrical engineering, and that just kind of fit. I met the right people, and it was my calling, so I decided to continue with electrical engineering, so I thought. 2018 came around, and I graduated from CSU with an electrical engineering degree, the first engineer in my family, so it was a very exciting time. It's ingrained in my head, my mom's smile as soon as I saw her and I was in my gown. It was incredible. The things I learned from CSU and my college experience that I would do all over again and or pay the same amount of money is, for one, the ability to learn new things. Like, this is something that is invaluable. The fact that I can teach myself something right now and put that work ethic and dedication into it is something that I can't even put a dollar amount, because I can teach myself new things and I'm always adapting. Second is those lifelong relationships that I made at CSU. I wouldn't be the person I am here today, speaking to everyone here in this crowd, a lot of people here, and be who I am without those people that I met in college. And I, in a sense, got to find out who I am in college. And that is one important thing, that you really can't put a dollar amount on college. And let's see, if I was to give advice to you all sitting on the other side, home, in your kitchen table, wherever you may be, is to try to establish independence early in your life. And that's one way that I was able to help my family out, my mom out, my brothers out, was let's just remove me from the equation in a sense. And I worked really hard to try to make my mom's life as easy as it could be. I knew it was already difficult. Another advice that I would give my high school self is to not have so much anxiety in life. You're not going to have all the answers, and that's totally fine. The more you rob yourself of tomorrow or today's emotions about worrying about tomorrow, it's just doing yourself a disservice. So just don't do it. I know it's hard to practice, but get rid of that anxiety. It's awful. And really be yourself. I think that's something really key to me in my life that I've come to really find out is you don't really know who you are until you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations in life. That's when you really get to know your character, who you are, because when you're in comfortable situations, it's easy to make up a persona. But when you're pushed to defy odds, that's when you really you really find out what you're made out of. So when I graduated at 2018, I was fortunate enough to get a job working for a company called MyTech. I switched from electrical engineering to software engineering. Again, it's just, I don't know, I'm just trying to find what I like. And again, that ability to learn is so important because that's almost what got me my job, is they recognized that I could pick up things relatively fast. And as soon as I got that big boy check, I decided to take my butt over to Spain. So I went to visit one of my friends in Spain. We went to Madrid. We went to Barcelona. I got to witness my favorite soccer player of all times, Lionel Messi. I got to see a goal. I got to breathe the same air he breathed. So that was incredible to me. And as soon as the airplane landed back here in the United States, I went to go close on my first house right down the road. I literally walked here today. I could have drove here, but I walked here just for that nostalgia, of walking to school and what that brought to me. And I was just so happy to be able to fulfill my promise to myself, to my dad, to my family, to be able to provide a home, a better place, stability that I didn't necessarily have. And now with that stability brings creativity for my little brothers and my mom, and they get to have comfort in life. And that's something you really, in a sense, you can buy, but it's not something that is easily come. And that's something that I'm very proud of being able to provide. And at the end, what I wish you could take away from this is to take those risks early in life. It's so vital, And apart from taking risks early in life, don't be afraid of the failure that's going to come from it, because there is going to be failure. I tell you that right now. You might apply for the 14ers Fund scholarship and you might get rejected, and that's totally fine. But I need you to understand that. Go apply everywhere else. Every time you write an essay, you're getting to learn more about yourself. And that, again, is invaluable. So again, be proud of your story. Believe in your story. And believe in yourself. Face your fears. And chase those dreams. And dream really big. Big dreams. Thank you.